We accept it as a normal rite of passage. You turn 12, your teeth come in crooked, your parents pay $5,000 to wire your mouth shut for 2 years. It is a $38 billion industry built entirely on a single comforting lie. The lie is that crooked teeth are just bad luck. That it's all genetics. Your mouth is simply too small for your teeth. But if you look at the skulls of our ancestors, you won't find braces, you won't find impacted wisdom teeth, and you certainly won't find bad genetics. You'll find perfect, straight dental harmony. We didn't evolve to have bad teeth, we de-evolved. And the culprit isn't in your DNA, it's in your hand. This is a story of how we broke the human jaw, and why fixing it is about a lot more than just a pretty smile. If you walk into any high school in America today, about 1 in 5 kids has some form of malocclusion, crooked teeth, or a misaligned bite. It is so common that we assume it's natural. We assume that human beings are just prone to having messy mouths. But we wind the clock back, that fact falls apart. Archaeologists have dug up thousands of skulls from our hunter-gatherer ancestors. Do you know what they found? They found perfect teeth. Researchers describe the jaws of hunter-gatherers as having almost perfect harmony. Broad dental arches, straight rows of teeth, and zero need for braces. So, what happened? Did our DNA suddenly break? In the 1930s, a dentist named Watson A. Price set out to answer that exact question, and he found the answer in the most tragic place possible, the family photo album. Price travelled to isolated trading posts around the world. He met families who were in the middle of transitioning from a traditional indigenous diet to a modern Western one. The parents, who grew up eating tough traditional foods, had broad faces and straight teeth. But their children, well, the children born after the family adopted white flour, sugar, and jams were different. Their faces were narrower, their dental arches were constricted, their teeth were crowded and crooked. This happened in a single generation. Evolution takes thousands of years. Genetics doesn't just give up in 20. This proves that a blueprint for a perfect jaw is still inside your DNA right now. It simply failed to launch. And nowhere is this failure more obvious than the wisdom tooth epidemic. Nearly 37% of people worldwide have at least one impacted wisdom tooth. We treat this like a design flaw, like we have too many teeth. But that's backwards. You don't have too many teeth, you have too little jaw. Your ancestors fit all 32 teeth comfortably. You can't, because your jaw never finished growing. So, if the blueprint is there, and the genes haven't changed, what physically signaled your bone to stop growing? To understand why this is happening, you have to stop thinking of your bones as hard, static rocks. You need to start thinking of them like muscles. If you want bigger biceps, what do? You go to the gym, you lift heavy weights, you create mechanical stress. And that stress signals your body to build more muscle fiber. Your jaw works the exact same way. The scientific term for this is mechanotransduction. It's a big word, but the process is simple. Inside your jawbone, there are specialized cells. When you chew something hard, like a raw carrot or tough meat, your jawbone bends very slightly. These cells sense this stress, and immediately they send out a chemical signal to another set of builder cells. They get to work laying down new bone, making the jaw denser, wider, and stronger. This isn't just a theory, we can replicate it in the lab. In study after study, researchers take 2 groups of mice. They feed one group a hard diet of pellets, they feed the other group a soft diet of ground up powder. The result is always the same. The mice who chewed hard pellets developed strong, wide, robust jaws, while the mice who chewed the soft powder developed small, weak, narrow jaws. The genes were the same, the nutrition was the same. The only difference was the mechanical work. And this is exactly what we have done to ourselves. We have moved from a gym diet to a couch potato diet. We drink our calories in smoothies, we eat burgers that literally melt in our mouths. we choose the softest bread possible. We have removed the mechanical stress. And without that stress, your jaw never gets the signal to grow. So we know how the jaw shrinks. But to fix it, we need to know exactly when we decided to stop chewing. So when did the gym close? When did humans stop chewing? Well, it didn't happen all at once. It happened in two distinct cliffs. The first cliff was the agricultural revolution, about 12,000 years ago. Before this, human beings were eating a tough diet. We're talking fibrous tubers, raw vegetables, and game meat that required hours of vigorous chewing to break down. But then we invented farming. We started cooking cereals, beans, and grains into soft porridges and stews. Suddenly, the work of eating was cut in half. Archaeologists can actually see this shift in the fossil record. The skulls of early farmers show the first signs of the jaw shrinking. It became shorter and smaller. And here's the catch. While the bone got smaller, the teeth stayed the same size. This created the first mismatch. The garage got smaller, but the car didn't. This is when dental crowding began. But this softer diet had another even weirder side effect. It changed how we speak. Because early farmers didn't chew as hard, their jaws didn't grow as far forward. This meant they retained a slight overbite from childhood into adulthood. This overbite made it much easier to touch your bottom lip to your top teeth. The movement required to make F and V sounds. Linguists believed that before farming, these sounds were rare because they were harder to make after a heavy edge-to-edge bite. But after farming, F and Vs exploded into languages all over the world. So in a very literal sense, our diet didn't just change our faces, it changed our words. But farming was just the gentle slope. The real cliff, the one that destroyed our health, was yet to come. So if farming was a slow decline, the Industrial Revolution was a cliff. Starting in the 18th century, we figured out how to use machines to strip the tough, fibrous outer shells off of grains to create fine white flour. We essentially started pre-chewing our food before it even entered our mouths. But the final nail in the coffin was the invention of ultra-processed food, UPF, in the 20th century. Today, we live in a space-age world with Stone Age genetics. We consume calories that require almost zero mechanical effort. Smoothies, protein shakes, burgers made out of ground meat. Bread so soft you can squish a whole loaf into a ball. And this isn't an accident. It is a business model. The food industry, let's call them big food, has successfully marketed the very thing that is destroying us as a luxury. For adults, they sell softness as quality. We are told that a good steak should melt in your mouth. We are told that convenience means food that requires no effort. But for children, the marketing is even more insidious. If you look at a baby food aisle, you'll see a parade of pouches and puffs. A record by the Yukon Road Center found that these companies aggressively market their products using specific safety language. They promise parents their snacks are gentle on gums, easy to chew, and designed to dissolve easily. They are literally selling you on a feature that ensures your child's jaw never develops. By the time a modern child is old enough to eat solid food, you're fed a diet that signals their bone cells to go to sleep. This is exactly what Harvard biologist Daniel Lieberman calls a dentist's nightmare. A population with shrunken jaws, crowded teeth, and billions of dollars spent trying to straighten them out. But here's the scary part. If a small jaw just meant you needed braces, it would be annoying, but it wouldn't be a tragedy. It would just be cosmetic. But a jaw isn't just a holder for your teeth, it's a scaffolding for your airway. And when you mess with the scaffolding, the whole building starts to collapse. So, we have small jaws, but who cares? If you can afford braces, it's just a cosmetic issue, right? Wrong. This is the part of the story where the mismatch turns from annoying to dangerous. You see, your jawbone is the structural housing for your airway. If your maxilla, the upper jaw, is too narrow, your nasal sinus passages are constricted. If your mandible, the lower jaw, is too far back, your tongue has nowhere to sit. So where does the tongue go? it falls backward into your throat, blocking your windpipe. This creates a domino effect that ruins your health. First, because your nasal passages are too small, you switch to chronic mouth breathing. As James Nestor details in his book Breath, mouth breathing is a disaster for the human body. It increases stress hormones, ruins your dental health, and lowers the amount of oxygen reaching your brain. But it gets worse when you go to sleep. We're currently living through a modern epidemic of obstructive sleep apnea. This is a condition where you literally stop breathing at night because your airway collapses. For decades, doctors told us this was a disease of obesity. They said it was caused by too much fat around the neck. But a groundbreaking study in the Journal of Oral and Maxillofacial Surgery blew that assumption apart. It looked at patients who were thin, people with normal body weight, who are still suffering from severe sleep apnea. Doctors call this silent sleep apnea. Why are these healthy, thin people choking in their sleep? The researchers found the answer in their bones. These patients didn't have too much fat, they had too little jaw. Their puny mandibles simply didn't provide enough room for the airways to stay open. This is the smoking gun, the degradation of the human jaw, which started 12,000 years ago with a cooked bean, has culminated in a medical crisis where millions of people are slowly suffocating themselves because their faces are quite literally too small to breathe. I have never heard of how UPFs could cause this problem before, but I was reading through ultra-processed people and that led me to Jaws, the story of a hidden epidemic that opened my eyes, which is why I'm really grateful that bookshop.org is sponsoring this video. Instead of getting short-form content that fries my brain and leaves me exhausted, I now can get books online but sourced directly from my local bookstore, where I know I'm actually helping a small business rather than just another sale for Amazon. That's because bookshop.org allows you to select a local bookstore in your area, and 30% of any book you purchase on the website goes to that store. These local bookstores are some of my favorite places because they bring so much character to the community and help me find new reads that I wouldn't otherwise spot. If you're interested in bookshop.org, check the link in the description. It will take you to both these books I mentioned, which could be great gifts for the holiday season. Or you can use a second link to buy your loved ones a bookshop.org gift card that never expires. Check it out. So, is there any hope for UPF damaged jaws? Can we reverse 12,000 years of de-evolution? Well, if you go onto TikTok or Instagram right now, you will see thousands of young men trying to biohack their way out of this problem. They chew rock hard mastic gum or use silicone jaw exercises, hoping to chisel a hunter-gatherer face out of a modern skull. But here is the hard truth. You are likely too late. Recent studies show that while chewing hard gum as an adult does increase the size of your jaw muscles, it has almost zero effect on the bone itself. The window for building the house, the bone structure, is mostly closed by the time you hit puberty. The solution isn't to fix the adults, it's to save the children. We need to treat chewing as essential to development as vitamins or sleep. This means extended breastfeeding, which requires far more mechanical suction force than bottle feeding. It means ignoring baby food marketing. It means introducing real, tough, chewable solid foods to children as soon as they are ready, rather than relying on pouches that dissolve instantly. We cannot change our genetics. We are stuck with Stone Age bodies, but we can change our environment. We are essentially animals living in a zoo of our own making. We built a world of comfort, convenience, and softness, and now we are suffering the consequences of that captivity. The only way out is to recognize that sometimes the hard way is actually the healthy way. We need to stop taking the path of least resistance. We need to start chewing again.